Good day everyone, I am Analyn Bayron from BKED 1A. So for today, I will share to you about the function of an ecosystem and decomposer with varying relation. So the function of ecosystems. So the function of ecosystems includes the process how an ecosystem works or operates in normal condition. From the operational viewpoint, the living and non-living components of ecosystem are interwoven into the fabric of nature. While considering the function of an ecosystem, we describe the flow of energy and the cycling of nutrients. The function of ecosystem are as under. First, we have transformation of solar energy into food energy. So in this case, plants convert light energy into chemical energy through a process known as photosynthesis. Most of this energy is stored in compounds called carbohydrates. So the plants convert a tiny amount of the light they receive into food energy. So absorbing solar energy and transforming it to chemical energy. Leaves are natural solar panels, so plant is eaten by grasshopper, is eaten by frog, is eaten by bird. So its stored chemical energy is transferred from the plant to the grasshopper, to the frog, to the bird, enabling each and torn to function as a living organism. Next, we have the circulation of elements through energy flow. So, the flow of energy through living things within ecosystem. All living organisms can be organized into producer and consumers, and those producer and consumers can be further be organized into a food chain. Each of the levels within the food chain is trophic level. So it is saying that in the various biotic components of the ecosystem, the energy flow is the main driving force of nutrient circulation. So the organic and inorganic substances are moved reversibly through a various closed system of cycle in the biosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere. This activity is done in such a way that total mass of the substance remains almost the same and is always available to biotic communities. Next, we have the conversion of elements into an organic flow. So the organic elements of plants and animals are released in the under-mentioned ways. First, we have decomposition. It's the decomposition of leaf folds from the plants, dead plants, and animals by decomposer and their conversion into soluble and organic form. Next, burning of vegetation by lighting. So, accidental forest fire or deliberate action of men. So, when burned, the portion of organic matter are released to the atmosphere and these again fall down under the impact of precipitation on the ground. Then they become soluble and organic form of element to join soil storage. Some portion in the form of ashes are decomposed by bacterial activities. Next, the waste materials released. It is by animals are decomposed by bacteria. They find their way in organic form to soil storage. Next, we have the growth and development of plants. So, plant growth could be defined as the increasing of plant volume or mass with or without formation of new structures such as organs, tissues, cells, or cells organelles. In the biogeochemical cycles are included the uptake of nutrients of inorganic elements by the plant through the roots. So the nutrients are derived from the soil where these inorganic elements are stored. The decomposition of leaves, plants, and animals and their conversion into soluble inorganic form are stored into soil contributing to the growth and development of plants. So decomposition are converged into some elements. So these elements are easily used in development of plants, tissues, and plants growth by biochemical processes, mainly photosynthesis. Next, we have the productivity of ecosystem. So, the productivity of an ecosystem refers to the rate of production. So, the amount of organic matter which is accumulated in any unit time. So, productivity is of the following types. So, it is associated with a producer which are autotrophic. Most of these are photosynthetic, thus they are to a much lesser extent the chemosynthetic microorganism. So there are the green plants, higher saprophytes as well as lower forms, the phytoplanktons and some photosynthetic bacteria. So by the way, the phytoplanktons are microscopic plants but they play a huge role in marine food web. So through photosynthesis, phytoplanktons use sunlight, nutrients, carbon dioxide, and water to produce oxygen and nutrients for other organisms. So the rate at which radiant energy is stored by photosynthetic and chemosynthetic activity producer. Primary activity is further distinguished as gross primary productivity is the rate of storage of organic matter in plant tissues and excess of the respiratory utilization by plants during the measurement period. So this is the rate of increases of biomass. So in this way, net primary productivity refers to balance between gross photosynthesis and respiration and other plant losses as death. Next, we have secondary productivity. So these are the rates of energy storage at consumers' level. Since consumers only utilize food materials that are already produced in their respiration, some play covering the food matters to the different tissues by an overall process. The secondary productivity is not divided into gross and net amount. Next, we have net productivity. So net productivity refers to the rate of storage of organic matter net used by the heterotrophs, equivalent to net primary production minus consumption by the heterotrophs during the unit period. It is thus the rate of increase of biomass of the primary producers which has been left over by the consumers. Next, we have stability of ecosystem. So, the stability of ecosystem refers to the balance between production and consumption of each element in the ecosystem. In other words, balance between input and output of energy and normal functioning of different biogeochemical cycles and a stable condition of equilibrium as under the equilibrium model states that an ecosystem always tends towards stability. As soon as the community of an ecosystem is disturbed due to external environmental change, it quickly returns to original state, whereas the non-equilibrium model states that an ecosystem stability is rarely attained because disturbances caused by frequent external environmental change do not allow to develop order state of species assemblages in an ecosystem. So our next topic is about decomposers. So the death and decomposition of plants and animals with release of nutrients constitutes an essential link in the maintenance of nutrient cycles. When organism dies, an initial period of rapid leaching takes place, population of macromolecules. So the dead organism is disintegrated beyond recognition, enzymic action breaks down, so the disintegrating parts of the latter animals invade and either eat the rapidly recolonized by microorganisms, and a later biomass decreases. It becomes simpler in structures and chemical compositions. Next, we have the process of decomposition. So decomposition is the first stage in the recycling of nutrients that have been used by an organism to build its body. So it is the process whereby the dead tissues break down and are converted into simpler organic forms. So these are the food source for many of the species at the base of ecosystem. So the process of decomposition involves three interrelated components. First, we have the leaching. So leaching is a process by which constituents of a solid material are released into a contacting water phase. Next, we have catabolism. It is a process in a plant or an animal by which living tissues is changed into waste products. Next, we have comminution. So the process of comminution is the crushing and grinding of a material or to reduce it to smaller or finer particles. So during the course of feeding, the decomposer animals community detritus basically and utilize the energy and nutrients for their own growth. In due course, the composer themselves die and contribute to the detritus. Next, we have function of decomposition. The two major functions of decomposition within ecosystem are as under the mineralization of essential elements, the formation of soil organic matter to an organic form. The formation of soil organic matter in nature is a slow process. The decomposition of any piece of plant detritus may take hundreds of years to complete. However, some residues of decomposition within this period do contribute to the formation of soil organic matter. So let's move on. So next, community of decomposer organism. The community of decomposer organism includes several bacteria, fungi, protists, and vertebrates. The different species in such a community function in an integrated manner. For example, a fungus decomposes plant leather and is eaten by an animal. Upon death, bacteria decompose the animals and protozoa may eat the bacteria. So next we have the table 31 of chef decomposer organism. In here we can see the division in class, orders, and their common names. So we have Eobacteria and its order is Mexobacterialis and its common names is fruiting bacteria. Next, Cytopagels. So the common names, gliding bacteria. Next, we have Spirocatels and the common names is same Gehap. Okay, so let's move on. Decomposers with varying relations. So some decomposer organism cannot be assigned a rigid or fixed position in the food web. So their trophic relation can vary from time to time. So here we have nectrup. Some decomposer are nectrup. They can cause a rapid death of the food source because they have a short-term exploitation of living organism. So nectrups include may plant parasitic microbes as well as some herbivores, predators, and microtropes. Next, we have biotroops. So on the other hand, biotubes result long-term exploitation of their living food resource. For example, not feeding nematodes and alpheads obligate plants parasites. Next, we have hemibiotroops are the spectrum of plants pathogens including bacteria, omicides, and a group of plants pathogenic fungi that keeps its host alive while establishing itself within the host tissues, taking up the nutrients with brief biotropic-like pace. Let's move on about the decomposer occupying different trophic levels. So there are some such organisms causing decomposition as can occupy various trophic levels under different conditions, act as necrotropes or as saprotropes. So for instance, the root parasites like Fusarium and Rhizoctonia are necrotropes, which often show a saprotropic tendency. In the same way, the predators like foxes and kittens sometimes behave as saprotropes. Biotroops sometimes act as necrotropes or as saprotropes. So next we have soil and vertebrates and termites. So there are some soil and vertebrates, earthworms, and collembolans distribute organic matter throughout the soil, whereas other termites and ants concentrate it at localized sites around or near the rural chamber or in mounds. The following table shows the estimated activities of major groups of soil animals. In here in the table, you can see the soil animals activities. In the table, we have the group density, respiratory quotient, the respiratory quotient efficiency, the production products excretory, and the ratio. So that's all about the function of an ecosystem and decomposer with varying relation. Thank you.